Welcome back to the news at 7. Today is Juneteenth, also known as Freedom Day. And while there are celebrations around the country, they'll continue this weekend, including here in Fort Wayne at the Macknificent Freedom Fest. Joining us tonight on the news at 7 is a very special guest, Mr. Adrian Curry. Mr. Curry, welcome to the news at 7.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having me.
Well, it is such an important day, such an important celebration, and also Macknificent Fest is the official celebration of Freedom Day and Juneteenth here in Fort Wayne. For people that have not experienced the Juneteenth celebration in the Summit City, you've played a critical role in it. Tell us a little bit about what is happening this weekend.
Well, we're creating a standardized celebration that is a movement, you see. So we start at Weiser Park Youth Center. This is where the original Juneteenth celebration in Fort Wayne, our local celebration, began, you know, to honor Baba Kwaku Akan and Zanette Page, who really maintained it all these years, you know, so I have to honor them there at the Keepers of the Light ceremony. And for anyone that is going to pledge to be a good steward of our culture, our history, and the celebration. That's what the Keepers of the Light celebration is all about. And so I asked them, are you willing to hold the flame? And so once we do that, we line up for the ALC Promenade, the Art Leadership Center Promenade. And this is our Freedom March. This is where the community gets to show off. We get to saunter. We get to, you know, just show whatever it is that you offer, whatever your organization offers, whatever you as an individual offer. But the idea is that imagine a long spine and how the spine innervates different organs. So imagine that line in all the organizations innervating the community, inspiring the community, and ultimately showing them what we offer them so that they can tap into those resources. And that line travels down Oxford, starting at Optimistic, shout out to Miss Veronica Towns, and it ends at Macknificent Freedom Fest at McMillan Park, where we do the Cozy Mac Award for our outstanding community service. And there's going to be some awesome performers like Step Up to Fitness and a few others.
It sounds like it's going to be quite the day and quite the celebration. And you touched on it a little bit, but the history of this goes back far. And I did a little bit of my research. I understand that not just you, but your mother and even your grandmother played a critical role in this, specifically in the Weiser Park Youth Center for so many years. Talk to me a little bit about your mother and your grandmother's role in the community here.
Wow, that is a really powerful question. Well, I can't start without giving honor to Kwaku Akan, who really spearheaded that initial public celebration of Juneteenth at the park, at Weiser Park. Now, you had other events like Joanna Icegold had the Harambe Festival, and, you know, Chief Conjure Ridley, she put on programs, Diane Rogers. So there's a lot of community leaders who put a lot into this celebration, but Baba Kwaku Akan made it public for the community. Now, Miss Camille, she operated as a coordinator, and Miss Mack, she was a coordinator in a sense, but mostly over the food. So giving away free food, working with Community Harvest Food Bank, making sure all the 3 centers were fed. And Miss Camille was a big part of making sure all the centers were there, and just really doing all the real physical manual labor, you know, to really make sure it was put on successfully. But it was under the leadership of Zanette Page, and she's amazing. So she allowed us to really learn our strengths and our weaknesses in putting on events of this nature. So Miss Camille has been critical not only in coordinating the event, but also helping myself with the Dono Intuaso dancers and the Acoma dancers. And she started those groups, actually. And so whenever you see me stepping with the groups before you see Art Leadership Center with the red shirts, Miss Camille actually put those groups together. And those have always been the main attractions at Juneteenth, outside of our headliner band, of course.
What's the biggest misunderstanding you think people have about Juneteenth?
The biggest. There are several misconceptions, and a lot of the history isn't presented properly, not even on Google. When you look in the literature, it doesn't reflect what is being popularized in the public. So I think the biggest misconception is that we're celebrating freedom as if we've already accomplished it.
Very, very powerful. It is a federal holiday, but some people might not realize it's only been a federal holiday for a couple years now.
Yes.
Why do you think it took so long?
There's many reasons. I don't have the time to give that dissertation, right? But what I would say is this. We put that event on locally. We built the stage in the park, early 2000s. And it wasn't about it being a national holiday. It's about freedom. It's about liberation. It's about bringing awareness, education, and organization. That's the idea. When Weiser Park no longer took on that mantle, it was passed to myself. And once I took on that mantle, I decided, because Black Lives Matter was going on, there were other groups putting on amazing Juneteenth celebrations within and outside of the community. And so what I did to make it more official was tie them all together, right? And so that was 2020. Then 2021, we were able to establish the Juneteenth Collaborative with over 35 organizations and over 70 members with, many people in our community involved. And I believe that was also the year where we were able to make it a local holiday, actually before it became a national holiday. So I think it's taken so long because there's not a lot of agreement on what Juneteenth is about. And that goes back into the literature and the truth behind what this freedom celebration is about.
Finally, for people that are watching this that haven't attended the celebration yet, but they're thinking about going this weekend, what should they know?
You should know that everyone is invited. You should know that that is the idea of the Macknificent Freedom Fest. That's what makes it magnificent. We go to everyone else's cultural celebrations, and we want Greater Fort Wayne, we want the entire community to know, come out and partake. Become educated with us, But the biggest thing is, this is not just dancing and food. This is about the Keepers of the Light ceremony and being a good custodian of the burden of responsibility to connect leaders and organizations with a collective approach to community welfare and events. And outside of that, once we understand that we are willing and capable and steadfast in keeping that light, then we can show off and strut our stuff. And then we can celebrate. But I think the biggest take-home message is to be a keeper of the light.
Mr. Adrian Curry, thank you for joining us here.
Thank you, Mr.
On
Homer.
the News at 7, the Magnificent Freedom Fest is this Saturday, the 21st, with events at McMillan and Weiser Park, plus a promenade at Warsaw and Oxford Streets. You can find all the times and details right now at 21alivenews.com. We hope you'll join Mr. Curry and so many others there. As we step aside for a quick break, the Juneteenth edition of the News at 7 continues after this.